It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you listen, whenever you're watching, I hope you're doing okay today. Today's show is being brought to you in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Make sure you make the trip to Sal's. You won't regret it. Hey, if you're looking for an authentic Italian meal, go to Sal's. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their next big boxing event, which is a world title fight. Saddam Ali is the main event. It's taking place next weekend, May 12th, Saturday. I want you to be there. You know why? Because I'm going to be there. I'm going to be ringside. That's right. Hey, get yourself some tickets now. If you've never been to the Turning Stone Resort and Casino, what a great place to hang out for a weekend. It's a fantastic resort, casino, and when you watch a live boxing event at the Turning Stone, you're practically in the ring. There's not a bad seat in the house. And speaking of being a seat in the house, it's going to be an HBO event. So listen, you're going to want to be part of that live audience, especially if you've never seen a live fight before. Get yourself some tickets. Best way? Just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the fight poster. It's on the right-hand side. You can't miss it. Click it, get yourself some tickets, then drop me an email and let me know where you're sitting. And then maybe I'll come over so you could buy me a scotch or two. You know what I mean? Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Holiday Inn. All of the Holiday Inn properties, if you call our toll-free number, 844-603-0364, that's 844-603-0364. You'll get a Billy C discount on any Holiday Inn property. If you can't remember the number, just remember the website, BillyCBoxing.com, and just click on the Holiday Inn banner, which is on the right-hand side. And finally, today's show is being brought to you in part by, of course, my book, because until everybody on the planet has 5 or 6 copies, I'm not going to stop talking about it. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold, and you can get a copy right now while you're watching or listening to the show. Just go to BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. You want to get a signed copy? Just visit the website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. If you want more than one copy, love you. Email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing. TalkinBoxing. Coming up on the show, I got some stuff to talk about. I don't know if you remember or if you've heard, but Panama Lewis was he was a trainer, but he got busted for taking the padding out of a glove. And ultimately, he's still serving that sentence. But one of the things about those gloves at that time was that they were stuffed with horsehair. And they've since replaced that. Or have they? I got an update on horsehair boxing gloves. And you're going to be seeing them in the ring pretty soon. Not that they've been totally gone, but they have been under the radar. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I got some emails to read. But first, I want to start off with this. the fight that we all want to see, the fight that we're all talking about, the fight that really is required to keep the momentum going for the sport of professional boxing is Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder. Not only is it going to be a deciding factor on who currently is the best heavyweight on the planet, but it's the heavyweight division, and the heavyweight division is where it's at, and it features the two top fighters, and all of the boxing fans want to see this fight. But here's the problem. Time, she's running out. Because as of Saturday, April 5th, the mandatory 30-day negotiation period for the ordered fight from the WBA. Now, Anthony Joshua has several of the world title belts, all of them except for the WBC belt to be exact. And the WBA portion of his collection of belts is requiring him to fight their mandatory title challenger, who is Alexander Povetkin. And Alexander Povetkin versus Anthony Joshua, the free negotiation period is up on Saturday, May 5th. And what that means, boys and girls, is that the fight will go to a purse bid. That's not the fight everybody wants to see. The fight everyone wants to see is Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua. That fight apparently is moving forward, but is that for real? Joining us right now, who has said all along that he felt that this fight was going to be taking place this year, and has also said, until yesterday, that he feels that we're going to get an announcement soon. Well, guess what, Sal? Today better be the day that we get the announcement. What's your thoughts?
Soon enough. We'll get the announcement today. Watch by what time they have to notify? 12 a.m. 12 p.m. or 3?
Well, if you're referring to the WBA, that situation has until Saturday. But my point is that if Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder really wanted to make this fight happen, and we all know the story, Deontay Wilder made an offer. He made an offer. He doesn't have $50 million, but he makes a $50 million offer. No contract, no stipulation, no parts of the contract on the table. But yet, Team Wilder says to AJ, "You must accept it before you see a contract," which it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But nonetheless, guess what, Sal? These guys are actually communicating. And according to at least Anthony Joshua's side, they are talking now behind closed doors. As you recall, most of their discussions has been in the media, through the media, in social media or the print media or news media or boxing websites or whatever. But now, according to Team Joshua, the discussions are being held behind closed doors. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's what I've said all along, Bill. I mean, they use the media to promote and to make some things come to fruition, sure. But the bottom line is this is a deal that they're going to iron out. They're going to be negotiating. They're going to have their representation, and they're going to nail it. It's going to be a compromise. And the rhetoric that happens all in between, they're compromising, is going to be...
It's going to be what?
Like I said, they're going to come out of that room, title bout on the line. It's going to take place this, there, and when, and how. And that's all I felt all along. And, it's bigger than boxing. These mandated title shots and sanctioning bodies. As you and I suggested, this is bigger than even those. Although they are great to fight for unification of the World Championship. I mean, these guys, if they're smart businessmen, if their handlers are as half as smart as we give them credit for, they got to realize this fight cannot be jeopardized by each of these fighters taking on different opponents and delaying the process for the so-called marination period that already has been taking place, whether we know it or not, right under our nose for the last year and a half. So I'm just going to stick to my guns. It's going to happen, and we're going to hear about it very shortly.
I got some comments. First, I want to remind everybody today It's Super Chat Thursday. Super Chat Thursday. And you know what Super Chat Thursday means? What, you know? Well, if you don't know what Super Chat Thursday means, there's a feature on YouTube, and it's in the YouTube chat room right now called Super Chat. And we want you involved with our discussion. So give us a Super Chat, and I will include your Super Chat comment, question, concern as part of our discussion today. So let the Super Chats begin. I'm hearing crickets, but whatever. I got some. I got some. My man Johnston. We got our UK correspondent. He's got a column up on BillyCBoxing.com. He attends fights over in the UK for us. Been doing very well, and we appreciate it. He's the guy that hooks us up with the diary for Anthony Joshua before a fight, etc. He's got some inside comments, and he said, "Here you go." He says, in a recent in-depth interview today, which was yesterday, a legitimate boxing news reporter said Eddie Hearn had this to say. Now, this I've already seen some of this stuff that Johnson has sent me, and from what I understand, Sky Sports Boxing were the people behind it. Now, Sky Sports is the equivalent to HBO over in England, so you got to take what it's worth. You know that it happened. He said, and this is from Eddie Hearn concerning the discussions between Team Joshua and Team Wilder. Eddie says, all I'm saying is at the moment, the talks are ongoing. There's still a long way to go, but talks are going on, and we're positive and hopeful. By the way, I had heard it go as far as Eddie Hearn saying that he felt that the possibility of this fight being signed, sealed, and delivered pretty soon is 70%, so that's not bad. He says people say I don't want the fight. Of course I do. $50 million. It's $50 million, but it's $50 million for what? He's not going to just take the money and say, hey, just let me know where you want me and I'll be there. There's so many questions that you got to ask. We've asked the important ones now, and we'll see where it goes. You shouldn't have to be forced to accept the fight in order to see a contract or not have any questions answered or even have a meeting. We are interested, and we are very interested. He's taking it public, meaning Wilder, which is probably the worst thing you can do. Anthony Joshua likes everything done properly. Behind the closed doors, that's good business. We've worked with Vladimir Klitschko. We've worked with Duco. We've worked with Dillian White. We've worked with Team Takam. We've worked with Wilder advisor Al Heyman before during the Charles Martins fights. We've never had one disruption. So we're just going to do the same thing, which is work hard behind closed doors. If both guys want to fight and both teams really want to fight, it'll get done. They do. We all do. Meaning they all want to fight. We're not looking to complicate matters, but there are things that affect our legal rights, and there's a few things that will affect our decision as to whether we take the fight or not. That's the key here. We can't accept until we know what the parameters are. I don't make the fights. Anthony Joshua is my boss. So I think that he should fight Wilder? Yes. Does he want to fight Wilder? Yes. When you've built to the level that we've built him to, what if we say publicly, yes, get the contract, and it's a load of BS? We'd look stupid. We'd go, well, we accepted the deal. They'd come out and say, deal done in principle. Everything goes. Wow, it's gone mad. Then you get a contract, though, that you can't sign. Then you pulled out of the fight. So we just got we just got to be careful how we handle it. There's only a half a dozen questions. They're not difficult to answer, but they will all be answered this week. Then if there's a positive response, we can start talking about drafting contracts and stuff like that. I'm taking it out of the media with the right people, and talks are ongoing. If I hear anything, you, meaning the fans, will be the first to hear. I like it, Sal, and I also like the fact that they're putting a this week deadline on it because they have to. Time's running out. The free negotiation period for the Povetkin fight is done on Saturday. Anthony Joshua, the question is, does he give a rat's ass about the WBA title? I wouldn't. It's the most worthless title of all. But Anthony Joshua likes to have all the belts. So this is important. This is an important piece of what's going to happen in the future. The other thing I just can't get past, Sal, I can't get past it. How do you accept a fight for $50 million or any amount of money without seeing a contract? And how could you be held to that? Eddie Hearn is concerned about them agreeing, then not signing a contract, then being worried about Deontay Wilder's team saying they pulled out of the fight. How do you pull out of a fight when there's no contract? It just seems so ridiculous to me. I don't get it. You're Deontay Wilder's biggest fan. You started the Deontay Wilder fan club. But I just want to know, how do you justify this with the way that Team Wilder has handled this whole situation and the way it was presented? I mean, does he have anything to stand on? I mean, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think he's done an effective job of having us talk about it and having the media surround it and talk about it.
But what does that have to do with the fight? What does that have to do?
Well, it's the rhetoric and the things that go on to keep the interest, to keep the excitement, to keep the mystique about this fight happening. And the bottom line is, finally, it's behind the closed doors. They're knocking it out. And whatever evolutionary period took place to get it where it is today, that's part of the whole process. And that's what I've said. They're going to wind up, and I've said it all along, they're going to wind up being a quiet period of time when they're going to be behind closed doors, and all of a sudden they're going to come out saying, we've got to fight. And I still am adamant about that, and I feel that way, and I think it's going to happen very, very soon.
Well, we got our first Super Chat today. Remember, today's Super Chat Thursday, and our first Super Chat is from my man Johnston, and he says, and if this is true, he's giving us a report out of England right now. He says apparently that Hearn has requested a delay from the WBA and Team Povetkin, and they have agreed, which is huge news considering the time factor involved with putting this fight together. So great update from my man Johnston, Sal, and that makes a big difference here.
That was right there. That's telling us right there what's going on.
Hold that thought. We got to take a break. We'll talk about the time extension in about 2.
We'll be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, Get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604. Listen.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace? Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. It's Super Chat Thursday. What does that mean? Well, we're looking for Super Chats today. It's Thursday, and we're looking for Super Chats. Yeah, that's what it means. It means we want some Super Chats. No, you got a question? You got a comment? You got a concern? Well, then give it to us in a Super Chat. Go on over to the YouTube chat room up on our YouTube channel. We're simulcasting right now as we speak. And put a Super Chat in, and we'll hook you right up. You'll be part of the show. You know, you'll be part of Sal. You can jump on Deontay Wilder's bandwagon with Sal Rocky Senecola. But
absolutely,
I think that was a big bit of news, to be honest with you, Sal, that the extension was made because the truth of the matter is, you know, they have they get that extension or time delay that is approved by the WBA and Povetkin. Because remember, Alexander Povetkin was very adamant about not taking step-aside money. He was very adamant about not waiting to have this fight. He said he's the mandatory. He's worked hard to get it, and he certainly wanted it. So, you know, with all of that said, that happened. What's your thoughts?
It's like I said, I feel confident, and even more so after hearing that from Johnston, the update. And I've said it all along, and I really feel adamant about this. This is going to happen. Just not for all ears and eyes to hear about the process of how it's going to happen. Enough rhetoric's been thrown around, and I really feel that, you know, with this new situation that has just evolved with the WBA and Povetkin, you know, accepting that we may have a delay and what's inevitable on that end. I think that this is just kudos to, you know, back up what we've been hoping for, and that they're going to just knock this out and then make a big announcement that we're going to be able to hear and be privy to in just a few short days.
Well, then the other side of the coin is that it's all BS and that the fight will never happen. Or the fight won't happen until next year, and that both guys will go on and take other fights in between, which makes no sense. You see, the only that we can, you know, put in the same category or close to it with the desire level and, you know, the two fighters and where their position is, et cetera, is, of course, the Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight. Now, that fight, you know, we wanted to see, and we finally saw it 5 years later. Now, with those two guys, they were both in a position to make a lot of money whether they fought each other or not. Obviously, Floyd was in a better position and made more money than Manny, but it is what it is. When you look and at the end of the day, we all have to agree that it was an anticlimactic fight. It was, in my opinion, Floyd dominated the fight. I can't believe some people feel that Manny won the fight, but Floyd dominated the fight in theory, but it was one of the most unentertaining. Well, it was a typical Floyd Mayweather fight, non-entertaining, et cetera, et cetera. Now, with this particular fight, the two styles of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, it would be hard to make me believe that this fight would not be entertaining, even if you had to wait. But here's the big risk, Sal. These two guys fight in a division, and both of their styles are inducive to being upset, the apple cart, so to speak, being upset. And in the heavyweight division, anyone can land a knockout punch at any time. So my question is why would they want to wait and be greedy? Because the only reason that they would want to wait is to try to squeeze more money out of this fight. But the risk involved, the risk of them even fighting the sacrificial lambs and bums that Deontay would fight. Because let's make no mistake. The bottom line is Deontay Wilder could line up a handful of bums, just like he's got 39 others, one real one, but 39 other bums he's fought. He could line up a couple of more and fight, right? But Anthony Joshua, he's got mandatory obligations that he would have to fulfill. And whether you think he's still a player or not, Alexander Povetkin is a tough out. He's a knockout puncher. And AJ has shown... I think that every time he steps in the ring with a shorter guy, he's shown vulnerabilities. So with that said, Sal, and even considering your boy fighting bums, they're still in a division that anything could happen. Isn't the risk of them, either one of them losing or having a setback? And I'm not suggesting that would end the possibility of a fight between AJ and Deontay, but it would certainly end the kind of money that they're looking at right now, wouldn't it?
It sure would, and I'm not going to be too much in agreement with the bums theory. I think that he'll have to fight what he has been fighting, the known entities of who's out there in the public, as far as being a notable opponent.
Can you name one? Can you name me one that he's fought?
Well, no, Bill. I mean, what I'm talking about is he's not going to have to fight an unknown entity.
No, but he's got somebody. Yeah, but what I'm saying is the same known entities, the same. Listen, there's not that many quality.
But there's not that many quality heavyweights. That's what I'm saying. That's why this fight is so big. There's a whole level of and Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, where they're on the upper tier of the level of what is available in the heavyweight division today. You have several different tiers, and the tiers are going to roll down my face if they don't sign this contract. But I mean, the reality of it is, it's got to be what is available, who is the most notable, and who will give the fight a good fight and an entertaining fight. And the pickings are thin, but also the risk does not outweigh the reward. The ultimate goal and reward right here is the unification of this World Heavyweight Championship bout, a stellar purse that's going to be available to both these champions, and the rematch clause that will ensure them a guarantee of even more money and the opportunity to retain or regain that World Championship belt. And I think that right there, said and done, I think it's inevitable, but I think that the risk far outweighs the reward. We cannot see either of these fighters take an unnecessary risk in fighting another opponent, other than each other.
But my point is that all along, whether we agree on who's going to win the fight or not, we must agree that Anthony Joshua has way more options to continue to make the type of paydays he's been making, fighting opponents than Deontay Wilder has. Deontay Wilder has not made $2.5 million yet, slightly under that with the Ortiz fight. And now that Ortiz has been beaten by Wilder, who else is left there for him? That would be an intriguing fight. There's rumor has it that he's already signed to fight Dominic Breazeale. I happen to like that fight. I think that Dominic Breazeale will give Deontay Wilder trouble. I really do. This is a guy with a granite chin, and he's not that bad, and he's a big kid. He's very limited. He's not as quick. You know, Deontay's very fast, but I think that that's a good fight. But like you just said, is the risk worth it? Dominic Breazeale can knock people out. And Deontay Wilder, although he's displayed a chin in against Luis Ortiz, who hits harder, Ortiz or Dominic Breazeale? I don't know. I've never been hit by either one, but Breazeale is much bigger. But aside from that fight, I mean, you could potentially have a Dillian White fight. I mean, there are fights for Wilder, but he's not going to take any of them. He's going to fight these obscure Eric Molinas and Johan Duhaupas. That's my hang-up. And the truth of the matter is that how many fights does he have to fight to make the kind of money he would make? It makes no sense. I mean, when you look at it from a business perspective, from a boxing business perspective in terms of, gains and stuff in boxing, for not just the money, by not fighting Anthony Joshua right now, it makes no sense. If this fight doesn't get signed, sealed, and delivered, I think it's going to hurt the sport. I really do. I think the people that have finally said, you know what, boxing's good again, I'm going to watch it again. If they don't make this fight quickly, Sal, we're going to lose those fans and have to start this climb all over again. I'm telling you, that's what I predict.
Well, and that's the whole thing. That's why it does not make sense for any other option but to negotiate and hammer out what we need to see as a deal to have this fight finalized, signed, sealed, and delivered to the fans. And that's what I feel in my heart of hearts it's going to happen. There is no real way out, and it's inevitable. And I just hope that they all get down to the nitty-gritty and do what they have to do to knock it out. And we'll see some knockouts, because as Michael Buffer will always, I'll have to give him the credit when he coins different things, boy. And what I loved when he coined this one, when he says somebody's always going to go. And that's going to be part of the excitement that night when Deontay Wilder steps in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Somebody, though, is going to go. Thank you, Michael Buffer.
This is true. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I got some emails to read. I got an update on Horsehair boxing gloves. Remember those? Well, we'll talk about that in about 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative three-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more, is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology used to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. Don't forget, it's Super Chat Thursday. What does that mean? Well, send us a Super Chat with a question, comment, or concern, and we'll make it part of today's show. So far, we got one. So hook us up, man. Come on, man. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. But anyway, we got some emails to read. But first, I wanted to mention this, which was in the news. Jeff Horn, the WBO welterweight champion, who's going to be fighting Terrence Crawford on June 9th in Vegas, actually will be Terrence Crawford's shot at the world welterweight title that Jeff Horn holds, the same one that he beat from Manny Pacquiao. Apparently, they have been approved to use horsehair gloves. Now, according to Team Horn, that this is going to be a big advantage for him. He says that their team says that they can be easily manipulated, the gloves that is, to expose the knuckles, which will increase punching power, which they feel that Jeff Horn will have the advantage over. They described the horsehair-based gloves as Clayton's gloves, the gloves that you have when you're not having a glove. according to Team Horn, they said it's a game changer. It doubles the shock through the glove, and it seems that it's going to go back to primitive days. If he wants to be a gladiator, then let's fight with these, then so be it. Now, I don't know if that was Terrence Crawford making the move to request the horsehair gloves or whatever. But, Sal, if you recall, these are the same types of gloves that got Panama Lewis banned from the sport of boxing. To this day, he can't get closer than 7 rows back from the ring. What's your thoughts on this, considering the history that the horsehair gloves has?
Well, I love horsehair gloves. I loved every time I have that opportunity to fight with a horsehair glove. My hands were always, the punches were harder, firmer. Your knuckles are, I think, equally or if not better protected. The foam inside the glove is not as insulating or does not conform as well to your hand. Once, as they use that term, manipulated, some of that horsehair does move around a little bit, so you can have a little bit of conformance into your hand molding into the glove. Not much, especially if you're just being gloved for the first time. But the bottom line is, I love horsehair gloves, and they're comfortable for me. And yes, I think they are to a puncher's advantage.
Well, they clearly, well, at least in the past, have shown that that they give a puncher a better opportunity. But the line that bothered me was the fact that the trainer of Jeff Horn said that they're so easy to manipulate, the horsehair gloves, versus the standard padding glove. I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, if a trainer is saying that, that means it must be a common practice to do. And I don't know. I don't know who would want to request these. I think Horn would be more benefited by it based on his style. But then again, Terrence Crawford, one of my favorite fighters today because of his style. He's a guy that's not afraid to mix it up. He fights in the pocket. He's great defensively. He's a full all-around fighter, in my opinion. But I guess we'll have to wait and see if there's a benefit to either fighter come June 9th.
I will go on record saying this is going to benefit Horn. I think it'll benefit Horn. I think he throws an authoritative punch, and this might enhance his power and effectiveness. And yeah, I don't like the choice of words used with manipulating the horsehair. And yeah, I mean, it's just, you can go inside the glove and you could feel, I'm not saying you part the ways you do anything. The glove is pretty much sealed very well. And it's not like you're going to open up the inside of the glove and finagle the padding, which has been a practice in the past by some, but you don't have that real opportunity to do so today. And the idea of manipulating, can you massage the horsehairs into a certain position? If you can, it's going to be minimal. It's not going to overly enhance the knuckles coming through the glove. It's got to be what it is. You got to put 8 ounces of horsehair inside a glove like that. You're going to put them in there. It's going to be sealed inside a casing where it's not going to be able to move and be that mobile. So I think it's fair. I love the horsehair glove. It's a comfortable glove, and I've never hurt my knuckles in a horsehair glove. I've hurt the hell out of my knuckles with a foam glove. Forget about it. I don't like them.
Terrence Crawford is the real deal fighter. I think it's going to benefit him, and I'll tell you why.
I want to hear it because I don't know.
Well, Jeff Horn, like you suggested, is a guy that comes at you, but he's not accurate. He's a very he's a wild fighter. He's a young fighter. We only really got to see him against a top quality opponent in Manny Pacquiao, who seemingly didn't take the fight seriously. Terrence Crawford's a hard puncher. What Terrence Crawford does a little differently is that he'll come in and feel out his opponent for the first several rounds. And then he stands right in the pocket and engages. He's hard to hit when he's in front of you, and he finishes the job. This guy can punch harder than you think, Sal. And the truth of the matter is, I think it's going to benefit Terrence Crawford. And the reason is because not only will it enhance the punching power for both fighters, but when you have the movement and the fluidness that Terrence Crawford has, it's going to benefit him much more. You know, fighters that can hit effectively on the move, if they have more pop behind those punches, it's even going to be more devastating. Fighters that have to stand in front of you to unleash their power punches, yes, it will help, but think of how far and few in between opportunities they have to let their hands go.
True. I think it's a good point. And surely with Terrence Crawford's style, he is able to slip a punch while he's in the pocket and deliver a good counter. So that would be a good opportunity for him to really nail Jeff Horn coming in, or thinking that he's throwing punches, and Terrence Crawford being able to slip them and counter with his own punches while he's in range. Remember, the old saying is, hey, if you could be hit, you can have an opportunity to hit. So, you know, it's going to be, I think it's a great thing. I think the horsehair gloves are a thing that could bring another level of excitement to the fight game again. And I'm a fan of the horsehair gloves, and I think that I think it'll benefit both fighters in certain ways. You know, I still have etched in my memory here Jeff Horn just throwing a barrage of punches at Pacquiao while Pacquiao was backwards to the ropes, and Pacquiao seemingly not being really able to answer with much, moving his head, trying to here and there. But I think Jeff Horn will have that opportunity again against Terrence Crawford to throw that barrage of punches. And I'm sure if he doesn't hit him with all the accuracy of a combination, you know, it only takes one or two punches to upset the apple cart and to get you hurt, to stun you, and then you follow up with the 3, 4, 5, 6 punch combination.
You're a big Jeff Horn fan, aren't you?
You know, I wasn't. I was not a Jeff Horn fan. But what I saw in Jeff Horn against Manny Pacquiao was the passion, the rising to the occasion, an unknown entity who, as far as I was concerned, fought in his backyard as most of his career. And he showed the world that he's here to be serious. And he took the lights, he took the cameras, and he took the action to Manny Pacquiao. And Pacquiao, like I said, he's going to be out there. If he keeps putting himself out there, all he's going to wind up being, and he's too great of a fighter to do this to himself, is going to be fodder for younger guys like a Jeff Horn. And I don't want to see Manny Pacquiao go out that way. And Jeff Horn just capitalized on a situation. He was given an opportunity, he maximized it, and that's where we are. That's why we're talking about Jeff Horn today against Terrence Crawford. I give him credit. He rose to the occasion. He took the golden ring and he ran with it. And I like when anytime any athlete does that, they get the opportunity one time in their life, and they rise to the occasion and grab it. And that's what he did.
We got a super chat. Mr. Ed says, stop using horsehair gloves. All the riding business isn't great either. It's a great show.
I get it.
Listen, Mr. Ed and Wilbur doesn't want anybody using anything made out of horsehair. But thanks for the super chat, Yo-Yo211.
I like that. That was great.
But here's the thing,
Mr. Ed.
Here's the thing. You know, with the Jeff Horn situation, I know why you liked him. All right, or let me rephrase that. I know why you like him. You like fighters that are aggressive and wear their hearts on their sleeve. You like guys that go and, you know, they what do, Sal? Oh, they fight. You like guys that actually fight. I get it. You know, and so do I. All right, let me start off by saying, so do I, of course. I mean, that's what makes, you know, you could spin it. There's been fighters like Floyd Mayweather who spin it. Science is not to fight like that, okay? And for the most part, a lot of his disciples, followers, whatever you want to call it, have drank that Kool-Aid and they believe that complete nonsense. But in Jeff Horn's case, and I agree, he's exciting and try to convince. I love fighters who can go in there and mix it up and take risks. But the truth of the matter is he's not an accurate puncher. And if he was accurate, if he was a guy that stood in front of you and let his hands go and connected meaningful punches, with a high percentage, even if it was 60%, there would be hardly anybody that could beat this guy. Manny Pacquiao took him lightly. Manny Pacquiao had him on his deathbed, and then he survived, and Manny Pacquiao ran out of gas. That's what happened in that fight. But Terence Crawford, I don't know if you just haven't seen enough of him, or if you don't appreciate that type of, and I'm not just saying you, Sal, but I'm saying people, if they don't appreciate his type of style. This is a guy that has a mean streak. See, some of these fighters today, they're athletes, et cetera, they have talent, whatever you want to say, but they lack that little mean streak when the bell sounds. I'm not saying, push babies down steep hills in their strollers just for kicks. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when they're in the ring, all right, they have a mean streak. I'm not saying squash on bugs and run over squirrel. Well, I hate squirrels, but aim for cats on the side of the road. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying a mean streak inside the ring. And let me tell you something about Terence Crawford. He has that. And this is a guy with some fast hands. I don't know. I actually am looking forward to this fight, and I don't even think it's going to be that competitive. I think that Terence Crawford is going to beat the snot out of Jeff Horn. I think this is the last we're going to see of Jeff Horn for quite some time, Sal.
Well, and don't get me wrong, Bill. I love Terence Crawford. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's part of what boxing is all about today. He does stay in the pocket. He does have defensive skills. He does put on an attack and combination. He does punch in bunches. He does all the right things. I love Terence Crawford. I really do. And that's why I think, I always say styles make fight. Well, these are going to be two contrasting styles, and I think we're going to have a hell of a few rounds. And I think, I'm not saying that Jeff Horn's going to win, but I think these horsehair gloves will be towards his advantage because I think he is the heavier puncher. Even though he's throwing Scud missiles at times, some of them are going to land. And, Terence Crawford, you got to love him because he'll stay in the pocket. He'll slip a punch. He'll counter. He'll do what he has to do. He uses the ring to his advantage. So please don't get me wrong. I love Terence Crawford. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I think he's one of the best out there pound for pound today.
Well, clearly, pound for pound. I love him too.
But that's another thing. He's going up in weight too.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna. He had trouble making weight, and I saw some footage of him. In between, when he relinquished his junior welterweight titles, he was as heavy as 180 and did not look like a Ricky Hatton 180.
He was 180.
He was as high as 180 before he started training. But let me tell you, he looked like a chiseled 180-pounder. Quite honestly, the photos I saw, I don't know how he could lose 40 pounds. I mean, he definitely didn't look fat. But in any event, I got some emails to read that I'd like to get to. Don't forget, boys and girls, it's Super Chat Thursday. I want to thank the people that already have hooked us up with a super chat. You want to get your comments, you got a real question, a real good question, or you got a disagreement with us, or whatever you want, give us a super chat, and we will definitely talk about to bring that live. But anyway, first email, this is from Jesse. Hey, Billy C. and Sal. Billy, I think Jamie Munguia versus Saddam Ali should be a good fight. Jamie has everything to gain because he is so young that he will become a champion, but Ali might be too experienced for him and outbox him. It might be a learning experience for him, Jamie, he's saying. For being only 21 and winning a title, then defending it against the Sharks, will that be too much for Jamie? An old saying that comes back a lot is, it's especially today's boxing game, it's easy to win a title. It's hard to keep it. And, I just think Saddam Ali, I thought, had a career performance when he won the title. So this fight could very well be a lot more even than people think. Now, as far as it being too much for Jamie, hey, winning a title and getting or even just getting an opportunity to fight for the title is not too much for any fighter. Let me just say this. I feel that if more fighters, and I was thinking about this today, Sal, To answer your first question, Jesse, no, I don't think it'll be too much. But, I was thinking today, Sal, and I said to myself, if more fighters, well, let me rephrase it. If the television networks and the promoters didn't devalue a fighter when they lost, right? So, in other words, a fighter gets a loss, and then immediately they're devalued by the promoter, by the networks, by the fans. And the result, the fear of losing that prompts them and their management team to fight basically non-challenging fights for them. I feel that if you didn't get devalued for losing and you actually were tested younger, and so be as it may, if you lost a fight, as long as you didn't lose your value and you were smart enough to learn something from that loss, at the end of the day, we would end up with a pool of fighters that are better than the pool of fighters we have today. Do you know what I'm saying, Sal?
I know what you're saying. And I concur with you there.
I mean, think about that. Because, today, my biggest argument is when a fighter fights, 20 fights against, sacrificial lambs, and all of a sudden they're ranked in the top 5 and they get a world title shot and they get blown out. And you say to yourself, was he exposed, or was he just never given the chance to get better? And I think that as long as we didn't, devalue these poor guys, I think that the sport would be better. You'd have way tougher fights. We're going to be talking about a fight tomorrow night on tomorrow's show with that young phenom taking on, I'm talking about Ryan Garcia, taking on Jason Velez. Jason Velez is a world title challenger. This is a no-joke fighter. This is a huge jump up in class for Ryan Garcia. And we're going to see right then if what I'm saying is true, Sal.
Well, like I said, I love when fighters rise to the occasion. And this is the big-time boxing. And, you have an opportunity, you grab it by the horns, you make it happen. And, that's what I love to see out of young, up-and-coming fighters. And, yes, you're right. Sometimes the pathway, you can have a fighter padded with his record and manipulated or maneuvered, I like to say, maneuvered up the rankings, and with a little cash in hand, a couple undefeated or a couple of sacrificial lambs under your belt, you can easily, maybe more easily today than in my era, get ranked and have yourself in line for a title fight. But once you're in that position, all right, you got to rise to the occasion, and you've got to take the bull by the horns and show the world what you're made of and what you have. And that experience can also be from earlier fights. And I'll tell you what, sparring world-class people in the gym, it helps too. It really does. And I think that, some fighters can do it. Some fighters will never have that crossover opportunity to show the world what they're made of, because they're just not made of that. They come up with an empty gas tank.
Sparring, I don't care how good of a sparring partner you get. I don't care. There's a lot of young fighters will say, well, I was brought in champion so-and-so's camp and helped them prepare for such and such fight. I just don't think that it's the same, Sal. I mean, it's not, in sparring as the sparring partner, okay, as the guy that is brought in, they're told, hey, today, Mr. Sparring Partner, today we're going to work on, we want you to attack the body of our guy. Or we want you to try and avoid him. We're working on him cutting the ring off. So try to move and stuff. They're told what they're expected to do. So it's a little different, in my opinion anyway. I think that the lack of frequency in boxing today has also aided to some of the issues that we talk and complain about. But at the end of the day, I think if you could only make one major change, I think, not devaluing a young fighter because he lost a fight would be the one thing I would ask for. I think, there's so many things that I would ask for, Sal, but I really think that would be one.
Christmas is a couple months away, 7 months.
I know. Don't even scare me. I mean,
can you believe it? Christmas is 7 months away. I think we just came on the other side of Christmas. Oh my God!
The funny thing is, I was saying this yesterday to somebody. The funny thing is, it might have been you after we got off air, but the funny thing is we're halfway through the year after this month.
We did that. I know. It's incredible. It just seems like we're in the first quarter.
We're almost done with the second.
I know.
You know,
I know. You know, I do it by my fiscal year, by my calendar year, and I know when taxes are due. It reminds me how fast the year's going by.
Second point of this email from my man Jesse says Tyson Fury is needed in the heavyweight division. This is a response from yesterday's show. He says because his skills and trash talk, his skills are reach. He's light on his feet and he's pretty good speed. Something Wilder and Joshua must face. He brings a different type of boxing that Wilder and Joshua have yet to face. Beating Fury would be good for the fight game and either of their resumes. Fury's trash talk will make people love or hate him, and it annoys fighters. I think Fury, I always liked him. I saw a guy that was improving, and then he was out of the ring for a while. So it's not going to be easy for him to get to the level that he was at, let alone continue the improvements that he was making. I think that, honestly, as much as I liked Tyson Fury, and I put the trash talk out of the window with him anyway, I think he's making a comeback because he sees big money potential fighting one of the top two dogs in AJ or Deontay. That's what I see. What do you think?
Well, I think that's a great incentive, and as I discovered, I didn't know he was as young as he actually is. And you know, if he has not had that much wear and tear on his body and his head, then you know what? There's no other venue that is going to produce some millions of dollars as easily as getting back in the ring. But it's a lot of hard work, and I don't mean easily. But I think he's got to be on a pathway and directed to showcase, you know, some of these elimination fights, some of these little things, getting him back into the contention for a championship fight. And I think he's got to beat some of these underlings right now and show the world that he's serious. Because I think there was some psychological things as well as physical things. So, you know, once I think he shows some stability, fighting some fights along the way, I think, you know, his credibility will increase and his value will increase.
We're going to take a short break, and when I come back, I got the rest of Jesse's email to read. He's got his predictions, and he's got a blast from the past request. All of that's coming up in about 2 minutes. Hey, don't forget about the Super Chats, man. We need some Super Chats.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free. Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now to get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000. has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists, working through the IRS Fresh Start program. Thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Don't forget, it's Super Chat Thursday. And we're looking for you guys to give us a Super Chat with your questions, comments, or concerns and be part of the show. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. But I'm looking for gold. I'm looking for a winning lottery ticket too, Sal. But
I thought I had it last night.
That doesn't work.
Powerball was worth almost $200 million. And I almost won, but I missed by about 5 numbers.
Yeah, did you? I usually miss by I don't get that close. I usually miss by all 6. I never even get one. But
do you know when a lottery is really big, I will take a pool from my employees and we'll go buy some tickets, quick picks, and we have gotten as close as I want to say 3 numbers plus the Powerball number, something like that. We won over $100. We were 1 number shy of winning $50,000. So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, like I say, up in Jersey, you got to be in it to win it.
This is true. The rest of Jesse's email, he says, here's my picks. I'm predicting Ryan Garcia to knock out Velez, TKO in the middle rounds. Should be an interesting and entertaining fight, and also somewhat of a learning experience for Ryan. He says Triple G knocking out Vanis late. He says, I got a blast from the pass request, Mike McCallum. He trains Jesse Vargas, but Jesse's still almost the same fighter like he was years ago. Jesse doesn't really have some of the basics like Mike McCallum. How do you rate Mike as a trainer? That's kind of a biased question for me because I had a lot of fun with Mike McCallum out in Vegas, and he's quite the character. He's a good trainer. I saw him in the gym before he was really taking on fighters. He was kind of like just helping, and he trains with the same mentality he had when he fought. So I wish him all the best. He's a great guy, and we'll definitely get him on the blast from the past list. That's for sure. That's a good one actually. So I'm looking forward to that one, Sal. That's going to be a worthwhile blast. Not that they're all good. They're all good. But got another email. This is from my man Rick. He says, "Hey Billy C and Sal, I've never been a Tyson Fury fan, mainly because he's so clumsy and doesn't throw his punches with any real power. I don't know if I would call him clumsy. He is a bit on the awkward side, so I can see what Rick is saying. But I 100% agree with him about his lack of punching power. For a guy that's 6'9", that weighs almost 300 pounds, and is just so physically big. And I was comparing him to Nikolai Valuev yesterday, and that was a guy that just, you would think that they just connect once and then knock you into next week. They really don't. So I agree with Rick there. He says, I'm really surprised, though, that he doesn't get compared. I think they have a lot in common. From the few Willard fights I've seen on YouTube, I definitely give him the edge in boxing ability and punching power over Tyson Fury. But similar to Fury, he was best known as another big, clumsy guy without much muscle tone. It was exactly 100 years between Willard winning his title from Jack Johnson and Fury winning his from Vladimir Klitschko. Both of them beat long-standing dominant champions who were both unpopular for different reasons. Everyone knows what happened to Willard in 1919 when he met Jack Dempsey, and it's probably what he's most remembered for. I can easily see the same thing happening to Tyson Fury in 2019, should he end up facing either Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Thanks for the email, Rick. I tell you one glaring difference between Jess Willard being annihilated by Jack Dempsey and the potential annihilation of Tyson Fury being beaten by Anthony Joshua or even Deontay Wilder is that the viciousness of Jack Dempsey does not exist anymore today.
No.
I don't think you see
that mean streak.
That. No, forget about a mean streak.
It's controlled anger.
He was
like
vicious. I think the word vicious is pretty good to define Jack Dempsey when he was inside the ring. You just don't see that viciousness anymore.
No, and you throw it intent and purpose. And I'll tell you what, I will say, I think if Tyson Fury gets in a ring with either Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua, he's not going to leave standing. I don't think he'll get out of the ring standing. That's
middleweight division all of a sudden is in question, and I'll tell you why. Canelo cheated. Had the clenbuterol in the system. We recently heard that the hair follicle test came up negative, which would suggest that Canelo's story of eating tainted beef was true. However, I've learned since then that, which is something I had no idea about, that there are easy ways to beat hair follicle tests, which I didn't know, and this is
reinvent that.
Yeah, this is the main reason why I stay kind of distanced from that. But
that'll keep your hair short.
Well, they say that doesn't make a difference. But Billy Joe Saunders, when we're talking about Triple G and Canelo, all of a sudden Triple G, he's fighting this weekend, and he seems to, he has made some statements that maybe he'll fight Canelo in September, maybe not. Seemingly, at least in my opinion, I thought that the Billy Joe Saunders fight with Triple G would supersede Canelo. Yesterday, Sal and I were talking about the middleweight division, and I was shocked to hear that Triple G, according to the computer rankings, is number 2. And Canelo's number 1, which is a joke.
Blows my mind.
But listen to this. Billy Joe Saunders has never been short on his words and saying things, right? And he was asked about some different things concerning both Canelo and Triple G, and he said on Canelo, and this is Billy Joe Saunders, in my opinion, Canelo is a cheat. He's a drugs cheat. He's still a cheat. He will always be a cheat. Everything he's done in boxing, in my eyes, has evaporated. Wow. But despite this negativity and how he feels about Canelo Alvarez, when he was asked if he would fight Canelo, he says, this is Billy Joe Saunders, I'd fight him 100%. We're in the business where, it's money-oriented. You got to go where the money is. Of course I would fight him, but it doesn't change my opinion that he's a drug cheat. Alvarez obviously was supposed to fight Triple G, and a lot of people thought that Billy Joe Saunders could have been the replacement for Triple G. And Saunders said this. He says on fighting Triple G, he says, hey, that May date was never going to happen, but this fight could have happened in June. They, meaning Team Triple G, seem to have gone another route. The ball was in their court, and they threw it out, meaning to get a fight done with Billy Joe Saunders. If the boxing gods want it, it will happen. But if they don't, then it was never meant to be. So we'll see where it goes from here. You know, when I see these comments, I start to say to myself, what is going to be the move in the middleweight division? Because all of a sudden, Billy Joe Saunders is assuming that Triple G gets by Vanis Martirosyan this weekend. It seems that Billy Joe Saunders is the guy that is coveted. And, you know, if Canelo and Golden Boy decide to go after Billy Joe Saunders and offer him a big payday, Triple G could be boxed out again and being forced to wait if he chooses to do so. It seems like Billy Joe Saunders is a little PO'd at Triple G for not fighting him in June. I don't know. What do you see between the lines here with the talk from Billy Joe Saunders, Sal?
I saw through the lines there, and I'll say it, and I'm probably going to get a lot of criticism. But first of all, I feel about Jeff Saunders as I do about
Billy
Jeff
Joe.
Horn.
Billy Joe
Saunders as I do about Jeff Horn. These guys were pretty much unknown entities, and boom, they jumped on the main stage and they took the opportunity and displayed what they can do. And so I love that. And that's why now I'm also a Billy Joe Saunders fan. He's a credible fighter. He's capable of doing a lot of damage in the ring. And I saw that. And I'll tell you what, like I said, styles make fights. And Billy Joe Saunders, I'm not saying he's capable of it, but I'll tell you what, I think he would give Triple G all the trouble that his camp might not want at this time. I saw something in Billy Joe Saunders that lends me to believe that he has a style that maybe Triple G's camp doesn't want to see right now, if not ever. So that's what I kept to myself without the stuff. I'll see Billy Joe Saunders. I think he'll beat Canelo Alvarez. I think he's a tough contender. I think he's the real deal. And he's a big guy. And a middleweight division, and I think he'll gladly step in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, because I think Canelo Alvarez, as good as he is, and guess what? I'm a fan of all three of these middleweights, and you know, without the tainted beef and everything else going on with Canelo Alvarez, I still say I respect him as a fighter, and I think he's capable of beating a lot of people out there. I don't know if he'll get past Billy Joe Saunders if they should fight, and I think Billy Joe Saunders is going to be having to face, these two fighters in the near future. And I don't know if it's going to go the way that everybody will, on the surface, may think it will.
How many Billy Joe Saunders fights have you seen, honestly, Sal?
Honestly, just a few. But what I saw, what he did his last time out, I was impressed. And I think even though it was against a stationary one-dimensional fighter, it gave him an opportunity to show what he could do. And I'm just saying, I know what fighters possess in their heart, and they rise to the occasion. Styles make fights. And this guy has the tools to go in the ring with pretty much a couple different styles that he'll rise to the occasion. I just know it. That's what a fighter could read in another fighter.
Well, he did have a great performance in his last fight against David Lemieux.
Yeah, he did.
But some of his previous ones, he clearly didn't look as good. So you always wonder, like you just said, style makes fights. I mean, did he look so great because he was fighting a one-dimensional, one-trick pony in David Lemieux? But the only way to really see is put him in there with one of these guys, and don't forget Daniel Jacobs. He's the guy that they're going to want to avoid. You got those top three dogs right now, Triple G, Canelo, and Billy Joe Saunders. Daniel Jacobs is the risk. the fight that makes the most sense really would be Billy Joe Saunders against Daniel Jacobs, only because he's the only one that, for Daniel Jacobs, that has a title that's not tied to the possibility of fighting all the others. See, Triple G is kind of in the driver's seat, in my opinion, because he's the guy with the majority of the belts, and he's the guy that I would think would be the fastest track to, to big money fights, et cetera, But the next guy is Billy Joe Saunders. The ironic thing is Canelo doesn't bring anything to the table anymore. I think that Canelo's value has clearly gone down, to be honest with you. I really believe that, Sal. I think that his value has gone down, and it is what it is. What do you think?
Well, it is what it is, and inside the talks and everything else in the fight world, if you get accused or you have evidence against you that you cheated, I mean, that goes a long way. There are fighters out there that hey, well, I knew it all along, and now it's exposed, and I'm going to want to jump on that all over the place. You just hear different things on the inside. The shame of the matter is this: you've got some great fighters in the middleweight division, and here we have an undefeated superstar middleweight champion, Triple G, and it's like under the radar. This fight is happening just a few short days, and there's nothing really to promote to say because it's lesser of an opponent. We know that, but it's a shame because this fight is gonna be just a matter of fact. Let's go to it and see what happens. And yeah, Triple G will win, but you have a great round robin series here with some top tier fighters, world class in the middleweight division right now between Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez, Daniel Jacobs, and Triple G. I mean, right there, you can have fights for fans for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, the problem...
If they fought each other.
Yeah, but the problem is Triple G doesn't have that much time left.
He doesn't. I think he only has a couple good fights left in him. And I think he can definitely retire with a smile on his face and go into the sunset and enjoy life.
Well, I think that Jacobs is the danger guy.
He is.
And he's big too, Sal.
He's big. He's a big guy. We saw him. He looked big against Triple G.
Oh, he's way bigger than Triple G. The question is you say that you think that Billy Joe Saunders is so big. I don't know if he's bigger than Daniel Jacobs, although he didn't look that big this past weekend.
No, he did not look that big this past weekend. But I'll tell you what, Daniel Jacobs and Billy Joe Saunders, that would be a fight I'll pay for. I mean, I'll pay for any fight. but I'll tell you what, talk about style. I would love to see that fight, and that would definitely be a fight that we could talk about. And I think they'll get a lot of attention in the boxing world.
Which fight?
Daniel Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders. That's a great fight.
Of course, it's a great fight. I mean, the thing is,
I would love to see that.
Yeah, but they're both. Everybody's so greedy. Billy Joe Saunders. Yes, I agree. Billy Joe Saunders and Daniel Jacobs, and I just said that before, would be the logical fight. But I'm not so sure that Billy Joe Saunders takes that fight because he could make more money fighting either of the other two. And it's all about money, Sal.
It's true. And at the end of the day, it's a business. Like we said, if you map out, you sit down with the brainiacs that know the game, and you look at how can you maximize your income and minimize your risk. It might go another path. But the bottom line is, like I mentioned earlier, with any one of those top tier 4 credible middleweights, Billy Joe Saunders, Daniel Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez, and Triple G, you could have a great round robin of fights between all 4 of those guys, any which way you turn it. Yes, I'd like to see Triple G fight Canelo Alvarez in September, and I'd like to see Triple G get the victory that he was stolen when they fought last September. And I think that as long as Adelan Burr is not in the arena, it should show and prove to be his night. We'll see. But he's getting older each month. We all are. But in the fight world, I think he's got to have a fight with Canelo Alvarez before the end of this year. And then from there on, he could either retire or face another fighter if he wins Canelo, if he beats Canelo Alvarez. Do I want to see him against Daniel Jacobs again? Yeah, maybe. Do I want to see him against Billy Joe Saunders? I think that might be a fight that he might want to avoid, but we'll see.
You know, I used to be a big fan of Canelo. I really was.
Me too.
I've lost all respect.
Always rooting for Canelo.
I've lost all respect for Canelo. I just, you know, and it's not only because of the steroid thing. It's just the way he's followed the path that Oscar De La Hoya is clearly copying from Floyd Mayweather. All of my hang-ups with Floyd Mayweather and the way he directed his career, which I don't knock him for his own personal financial gain, but I'm talking about for the benefit of the sport itself. Canelo's doing. I mean, you might as well just, you know, copy and paste what Floyd had been successful with and put it under Canelo's name, because that's what he's doing. And, you know, when he first hit the scene, he was refreshing. He was young. He said all the right things. He backed up what he said. And then somewhere along the line, he just became this, we're going to do like Floyd did. And he's put his 100% confidence in Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya is letting us down, man. Oscar De La Hoya, a guy who was known to not duck anyone. And when you look at Oscar De La Hoya's resume, it backs up what I'm saying. This was a guy that fought everybody available to him during his active career, and then some. And he would probably fight again if they would let him. But the truth of the matter is that's really not the same. You can't really say the same for Canelo. He started off that way and really was heading in the right direction, and he's become nothing less than a diva. And he's not backing it up. His performance, you know, there's one thing. If you want to be a diva and you back up your performances, not many people can criticize you. You know, it's my biggest criticism about Deontay Wilder. He pounds on it, says, I'm the best. Everybody's scared of me. They're scared of me. But he doesn't prove it. You know, he doesn't. I can't say he doesn't prove it. You got to step in the ring to prove it, so he can prove it. I just think they're hesitant. But, you know, he's not the only example. You know, Canelo, I don't know. I've lost a lot of respect for him, Sal. I really have. And he was good for the sport. I don't think so now.
Well, I think he's still good for the sport, Bill, and I do respect him and appreciate him as a fighter. I think he's well schooled. I think he's more than capable, and I think this too shall pass, and he will be back on the scene, and he will probably put his money where his mouth is, and step up and do what he's got to do, and maybe, you know, like you suggested, he has taken a playbook story out of you know, the old playbook from Floyd Mayweather. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, we've seen certain people that might be dubbed a diva, and you know, Andre Ward certainly proved that wrong, or certainly backed that up. And I think, you know, Canelo Alvarez, I think when it comes to mano a mano, I think he does possess that, and I think he does want to show the world what he's capable of. But these events that have occurred in the last year or so, I think from the draw he was lucky enough to get with Triple G, I think has, you know, just taken a little bit of luster off the shine, but it's not to say he can't get it back.
Let me ask you a question. And by the way, for all the radio affiliates that we have and all of our television affiliates, we are not taking a break here in 3 minutes, so warning to you here. Sal, let me ask you a question. The fact that fighters, you know, like Canelo or Canelo now, but more so with when Floyd was active, fighters that fight and want all of the advantages in their favor when they fight someone. What's your thoughts, and how do you feel about that? In other words, for an example, like Floyd always got to pick the location. He got to pick the gloves. He got to pick the weights. He got to pick who's making what. You know, everything was in his favor before you stepped in the ring. my philosophies have always been, especially on the championship level, that the best fights are those what we would like to refer to as 50-50 fights. You know, if you were fighting someone, would you want to go back to that dressing room, the winner, knowing that it was your best against your opponent's best? Would you feel differently if you went back to that dressing room knowing that you got to lay out all the parameters of the fight? Do you understand the question? Like, how do you feel about one side always calling all the shots when they're fighting the other side?
You know, Bill, I'll tell you, that was something that was far and few for me. And a fighter, in his heart of hearts, doesn't care what, if, when, and how. It just show me where I got to be, and give me the date and the opportunity, and I'm putting my lunch pail down, and I'm going to go do my work. And the bottom line is, I think a lot of fighters do feel that way. I think when you get to the superstar status on some level, maybe you do have a few requests that you want to make, and on that level, I think to be fair, there should be trade-offs, and there should be concessions, or there should be something equal on a par, because giving one fighter too much of a competitive edge is just that. And if he does win as he's expected, you the bottom line is there's only so much you could really professional boxing have a standard official favor a boxer who runs, who wants to move, who wants to have room to move. A puncher favors a smaller ring where his opponent can't run and move. So there are trade-offs, and that's where you come. Instead of a 20-foot ring, maybe an 18-foot ring instead of a 16-foot ring. Who knows? But those are the mediums. Those are trade-offs. Horsehair gloves versus foam gloves. The Mexican gloves, which are known to have more laces exposed that can cut you, versus non-Mexican gloves. I don't know. There are trade-offs in all these things. And I think it should be, when you get to that superstar status level, I think there should be an even par for both camps to have trade-offs. Like I said all the time, the best deals that are made are when both sides don't feel like they have quite won, but they don't feel like they quite have lost either.
Yeah, I you know, it's like
I don't like it conditional on just one side. No, I don't like that. If that's the question, no, I don't like that. If that's what.
No, but I mean, if you were the guy that was in the position to make all the conditions, would you feel just as successful after the fight, knowing that you had everything your way, than you would have if it was even?
Well, when you say that, I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at what can I actually do? Could I say, hey, I want to come in the ring last, be announced? Could I say I want to wear, I want to have horsehair gloves, 8 ounces? Could I say I want a 18-foot ring? I don't want a 20-foot ring. Could I say, yeah, if I get in that fight? Those are things that, you know, most fighters, they throw out the window. Just say, hey, just give me a home where this buffalo can roam.
Yeah, but no, wait a minute. Those are exactly the issues, because think of it this way. For you, want an 18-foot ring versus a 21-foot, that, you know, plays into your style of fighting. Maybe the guy that you're fighting against is more of a boxer. He wants the bigger ring. So yeah, now that's closer to you. You know, the gloves, you're a puncher. The other guy's not. He wears his opponent's hand. So now you have the advantage with the puncher's gloves. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So do you think that the options that you have to dictate aren't enough to make you feel that the victory was less accomplishing for you?
I wouldn't want all the options in my favor.
Right. That's my point. Yeah.
Point. Right. I'd like there to be a trade-off between fighters. Hey, you want to choose the gloves? You choose the ring side.
Exactly.
Vice versa. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
right. That's fair. That makes you go back saying, hey, I beat him fair and square. You know, it's like the guy who plays Monopoly all the time, and probably young people never played a board game, but guy who plays Monopoly all the time has got to be the banker. I'm the banker, and I start off with Boardwalk and Park Place. You know, I mean, you know, and unless you do it that way, you don't play. You know, I mean, you know, that's my point. So, yeah, no, I think you're agreeing with what I thought you would. I think you're saying what I thought you would say. You know that. That you would get more. You would get more satisfaction. I guess the better choice of words would be, you would get more satisfaction with a victory over a fighter that you guys both had a say in what the parameters were, versus you dictating everything and going back to that dressing room, the victor, saying, well, I did have the smaller ring. I had my kind of gloves. It was my fan base. It was in my hometown. I got announced. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. I mean, I'm going to say, hey, I want a 16-foot ring. I wish I could have a 10-foot ring.
Right.
Bottom line is, I want a 16-foot ring. I want 8-ounce horsehair gloves. And I want to come in with my name announced last in front of my hometown fans. That's all. And
by the way, I want one of his hands tied behind his back too. By the way,
that too. That too. You know what?
But hey, as we're wrapping it up here, I got the statistics from the WBC. The Triple G Vanis Martirosyan fight this weekend is a WBC World Middleweight title bout, and some of the normally I don't, with the WBC, and we're going to be breaking down, these fights tomorrow, but the WBC only looks at themselves as, the sanctioning body. They don't credit anyone else, even though they support unifications. So, in other words, for Triple G, they have him listed as his 4th title defense, when actually, he's fought in 19 titles, title fights. That, incidentally, he's 18-0 with 1 draw. So the guy's fought in 19 world title fights, and the WBC has given him 4. Giving him credit for 4. But when they list all of the WBC World Middleweight Champions from 1963, when they first started, all the way up to Triple G, including Canelo. They have Canelo as number 37, number 38. There's been 38 champions, Triple G. And then they rate their top 10 middleweights of all time, the WBC. Interesting list, Sal. They have Sugar Ray Leonard, number 1. They have Bernard Hopkins, number 2. They have Joey Gardiello, number 3. They have Carlos Monzon, number 4. They have Marvin Hagler, number 5. They have Nino Benvenuti at number 6. Triple G at number 7. Emil Griffith at number 8. Sergio Martinez at number 9. And Rodrigo Valdez, who was a quality fighter, at number 10. I don't know. Ray Leonard as their top middleweight guy. I mean, yes, he beat Marvin Hagler, but I guess they don't put any. Well, then again, I don't know how many other titles. Well, no, he didn't fight for a WBC middleweight title. This is for the middleweight. But the other thing that I thought was pretty cool was some of what they classify is their memorable title fights. And they listed a bunch of them here. And I just want to go down the list because a lot of them are more modern than you would think. As one of the most memorable fights, they have Triple G in a 12-round draw with Canelo Alvarez from They obviously have that date wrong. They have it September 16, 2014. That's not right. But they have Triple G and Danny Jacobs as a good one. They have Triple G as Kell Brook as one of their top ones. They have Canelo Alvarez beating Miguel Cotto as a top world title fight. They have Cotto knocking out Martinez as a top one. They have Martinez beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Jermaine Taylor beating Bernard Hopkins twice. Both times I thought B-Hop won. They have Hopkins knocking out Oscar De La Hoya. They have Hopkins beating Felix Trinidad. They have Roberto Duran beating Iran Barkley in 1989. That was a great one. But the one before that, Iran Barkley knocking out Tommy Hearns, was also good. Sugar Ray Leonard beating Hagler. Hagler over Hearns. I mean, come on, that was one of the greatest fights ever. Hagler over Duran, Carlos Monzon over Rodrigo Valdez, Carlos Monzon over Emil Griffith, Carlos Monzon over Nino Benvenuti. You have all these Carlos Monzon guys, and they have him number 4. They have him number 4. Nino Benvenuti over Emil Griffith, Griffith over Benvenuti, Emil Griffith over Dick Tiger, Joey Gardiello over Ruben Hurricane Carter, and Dick Tiger over Gene Fulmer. Ruben Hurricane Carter was, I think, a very underrated fighter. If he would have had his head straight, he could have been one of the best. He had one of the best hooks in the business. But anyway, what's your thoughts on some of those fights, Sal?
Phenomenal. I think they were great fights. And, boy, I'll tell you, it got me thinking about going back and looking at some of these fights because they were great, memorable fights. And surely, coming to mind is the 3 explosive rounds between Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler. I'd like to see that again. And, there were several other fights there. I think Sugar Ray Leonard, like I said, I've learned to appreciate his level and his talent and his ability as years go by because he was that good. He really was. And, you're talking about some top-tier, world-class, world-known, household name fighters. And it's far and few because, like I said, it's hard to see if we're going to get that kind of generation of fights and fighters again.
Well, we could, but there's one simple thing. They got to fight. They
got to fight each other.
They got to fight.
Right.
Fight. They can't let things getting away getting in the way of making the fight. But
no.
Anyway, it's that time again. We got the trivia question.
Boy.
I didn't get any correct answers, obviously. So we're going to do the question again. So I'm going to read the question. Then I'm going to give you the hint from yesterday and another hint today. So hopefully we'll get a winner for tomorrow. If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, because that's the way you got to do it, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Here's the question. I once stopped an undefeated record of a fighter. Then a week later, I beat his brother. Who am I? I once stopped the undefeated record of a fighter. Then a week later, I beat his brother. Who am I? Well, first of all, a couple of hints that I'm not going to count as hints. Fighting a week later should give you an indication that this fighter did not fight in recent times, okay? Because, 3 fights a year today gets you an award. So that's one thing. I once stopped the undefeated fighter of a record. Then a week later, I beat his brother. Who am I? If you're the first one to email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Same game that Alex Papali uses for our Blast from the Past segment. So I'm going to read it one more time with 2 hints, 2 legit hints, 2 hints that are going to count. They're all legit. But I once stopped an undefeated fighter of record. Then a week later, I beat his brother. Who am I? Hint from yesterday. The guy's name, his initials are TC. TC. The initials of the 2 brothers that he fought is DF and GF. DF and GF. If you know this answer and you're the first one to email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Sal, you look so perplexed. Don't even try. This one's a tough one for you.
I'm going through the alphabet. Where are all the initials? I want to look them up.
Yeah, where's all the initials? But anyway, hey, listen.
TC, Cat.
TC is the name of the guy. Who am I? DF and GF are the first and last initials of the brothers that he fought. So
DF and GF?
Yeah, D is in dog. Listen to you. What are you doing? You working with somebody texting you right now? I mean, come on.
I'm writing these down. DF as in dog, right?
Right.
Did Furpo have a brother?
Yeah.
And Matt, I'm going to work on this.
DF and GF.
I'm going through the alphabet.
DF and GF. Anyway, hey, listen, boys and girls. Make sure tomorrow you stop by because we have a couple of big fights this weekend that we're going to be breaking down and giving you our predictions. And hopefully we'll have an announcement that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder has been signed, sealed, and delivered. I still hope I am wrong, but I feel that this fight will not be made this year. And I think that if it even gets made next year, it'll be in the latter part of the year. And I would not be shocked if this fight never gets made. Contrary to what Sal thinks, I think Deontay Wilder, every time he steps in the ring, it's danger for him. Yes, he's got that knockout punch, but I still believe, despite him showing us a good chin against Luis Ortiz, I just don't know. I've seen too many sparring footage of him being dropped, and AJ too, though. In all fairness, AJ too has been dropped in sparring. I just don't know. I hope I'm 100% wrong. I hope this fight is announced. I hope we're talking and jumping for joy tomorrow. But I just have this feeling that the greed factor, the G word, is going to prevent this fight from happening at all. So anyway, but the other fights, including Ryan Garcia, who's fighting tomorrow night, a very intriguing fight against Jason Velez. We'll be talking a lot about that fight. And I want you to look into that one, Sal. Don't come in without your homework tomorrow. That's a big fight that will be available that we need to talk about. And the reason is because it's the only competitive fight, in my opinion, of the weekend. Yes, we have that fight. Yes, we have Triple G going up against Vanis Martirosyan. And we also have the biggest fraud in boxing, David Haye, fighting Tony Bellew again. There is a female fight. There is a female fight that I'm not going to even break down. Until there are some people, even our very own Dax feels that the women's boxing is getting real good. I don't, because 5-6 years ago and longer, the female fighters fought anybody, anytime. And now they're cherry picking, it seems. I don't know. Everything. Clarissa Shields supposed to be the best. She's fighting a fighter 2 weight classes below her. To me, that proves nothing. Same thing with the Charlo brothers. I love them. I love watching them. But show me them in the ring with a guy the same size as them, But anyway, that's that. Hey, listen. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time. Same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.